Good morning, everyone. My name is Lauren Welke, and I am the Manager of Corporate Engagement Programs at United Way of Metro Chicago. It is beyond wonderful to be here with all of you today. For those of you that maybe weren't able to join in the first hour, please don't worry. We've recorded the conversation and we'll be sharing on United Way of Metro Chicago's social media and on our website, which is liveunitedchicago.org. It was an absolutely wonderful conversation between our CEO and President, Sean Garrett, and Dr. Gail Christopher, who truly just brought us to church this morning and talked us through some difficult conversations. And I think that we're all the better for it. Thank you all again for joining us for our Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Virtual Service, Kit Packing Project, and Community Conversation. Over the last year, as we have entered the virtual world due to COVID-19 pandemic, KIT projects have offered United Way, our partners and volunteers, an opportunity to continue giving back through service. As a corporate engagement manager, I have often led these types of projects with my corporate partners, and I can tell you firsthand that they are very well received and they are absolutely necessary and needed by our agency partners. For today's program, we collaborated with United Way agency partners to identify the most important resources that families across the Chicago region will need to endure this challenging winter ahead of us. These items include a hygiene, food, baby, and warm clothing supplies. While COVID has impacted all of our lives, it has disproportionately impacted many low-income families United Way partners already serve due to unemployment, newly affecting many families which already had little to no savings. We are all really in a time of trouble together, and we can help each other find our way out together as well. Warm clothing kits will be distributed to families in need of new winter gear for this cold Chicago winter. Warm clothing can often be expensive, and many families will struggle to provide the necessary items such as coats, boots, hats, and gloves to growing children. I don't know about you. My child loses her glove, at least one glove of every pair every day. And these are really a growing problem throughout to get the kids what they need to stay warm and cozy. Hygiene kits will be provided to families to ensure everyone has access to basic hygiene. Supplies that many of us take for granted, like shampoo or body soap, deodorant, toothpaste, and more. Hygiene and self-care is vital to feeling healthy, confident, and prepared for success. And then baby kits, a personal favorite, can be donated to support new families, mothers, and children. Having a new family can be as expensive as it can be as exciting. So we want to make sure parents of newborns have access to necessary items like diapers, wipes, and formula to alleviate stress and direct their income toward other needs such as food and housing. Our final project opportunity is our snack pack project. And for this one, I'm going to demonstrate a little bit here. So what I have here is a large gallon-sized Ziploc bag. That's all that you need really to hold exactly all of the goodies that you want to have in it. And then you want to fill it up with items that are yummy and delicious and fun snacks that can be a little bit sustainable, but aren't just your typical chips or cookies or candy or anything like that. We want to stay a little bit healthy. So I have a little packet of trail mix that I'll put in. I have a granola bar or an energy bar that we can put in, some Skinny Pop, my daughter's first personal favorite. And then I have a couple of pouches that we can put in. This is an applesauce pouch, cinnamon applesauce, a big favorite, and put them in. And then if you are able to, go ahead and put in a little note as well. Let them know it was packed with care and with love and with intention for them particularly. A little bit of TLC for these kids is never a bad idea. My daughter went ahead and helped me design our stationery for today. You probably can't even see it. It's just a whole bunch of wiggles. But just little notes like this of enjoy these snacks. They were packed just for you. And put that in there. Or another note, have a great day. You are awesome. Never be afraid to give a little note to let them know that someone is thinking about them and someone is caring about them. And someone wants to make sure that they have a full belly and a warm heart. It's never, never a bad thing. And then all you will do is you will seal it up and prepare it to go to the agency of your choice. So snack packs will support families through Cook County. It is projected that there are currently 785,890 food insecure people, the third most in the entire country. United Way partners will be able to provide healthy and non-perishable snack items to children and families so they will have food to stay energized throughout the day. As a reminder, if you do not have the instruction and list of projects, we've included a link of the PDF in the chat. So please feel free to download and use. We do have like a list of items that we recommend. And of course, again, you're able to pick and choose or substitute as necessary. But keep in mind, let's try to keep it as healthy as possible, as energy enriching as possible. And let's show these kids that we truly care about their well-being, their brain, and their hearts. As you create your projects or think about the projects you'd like to make this morning or later today, we're going to be hearing from a United Way partner and our friend, Krista Hamilton from Centers for New Horizons. Krista will share how nonprofit organizations have been impacted by COVID-19, how they've adapted, and how items like the kit projects you all are going to make help to support their clients. We'll also hear about her hopes for Chicago as we all work toward recovery and build back stronger. While you're working on your kits, I know you all are grabbing those bags, grabbing the goodies, grabbing the diapers, or as we speak, I'd like to introduce you to Krista Hamilton, the CEO and Executive Director of Centers for New Horizons. Just the second individual and first woman to serve in this role since the agency's incorporation in 1971. She is responsible for directing the overall performance and operation strategy to improve outcomes for over 5,000 at-risk Chicagoans per year, ages 6 weeks to 100 years old. Under her leadership, the agency has grown by 100 employees and doubled the budget by nearly $16 million. Krista is a tireless advocate of the mission of Centers for New Horizon, Inc., and brings with her a strong background in performance-based leadership, operation management, and strategic development. She also has extensive experience working with the agency's strategic partners both across the city of Chicago and the state level. Most recently, Krista is an active board member for Chicago Citywide Literacy Coalition, appointed by the Secretary of the IDHS to serve on the Social Services Advisory Committee, and selected as a member of both the University of Chicago's Medical and Provident Hospital Community Advisory Council. Also, Krista is a Leadership Greater Chicago Fellow. She holds a bachelor's degree from Florida A&M University and an MBA from the National Louis University. Krista, thank you so much for being with us this morning. If you have questions for Krista, we will save time for a brief Q&A at the end. So please post the question in the chat or send a private message via chat to our United Way host. Krista, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you, Lauren, for having me this morning.
Oh, it's absolutely our pleasure. We're so excited to be together and to follow such a transformative hour in our first hour of today with Sean and Dr. Gail. And so we're just so glad that you're here. Krista, can you tell us a little bit about Center for New Horizons? What does it do? Who do you serve? All that good stuff.
Absolutely. So Center for New Horizons will be turning 50 years old this year. We are really excited about that. Our birthday is in October. So we're looking forward to, the next 50 years of service. We're based in the Bronzeville community, yet we serve the entire city of Chicago, as far south as Riverdale, and far west to Austin, and kind of everything in between there. Our aim is to just build a stronger communities and really promote equality and provide opportunities to families. We operate under 6 pillars of programming: early childhood education. We own and operate 3 child care centers for preschoolers, up to, I believe, 400 now. Youth development programs, we're in elementary schools and high schools doing after school programming. Adult and family services, we primarily work with CHA residents to help them maintain their housing and to create economic development for their families, and also mental health. So all of those under our adult and family services programs. Workforce development, each year we're placing about 600 people in jobs through our transitional and direct placement program, senior services. We host a kind of an adult daycare type of facility in the Chatham community. And then we also do home visiting for seniors, really to just keep them healthy and create and avoid social isolation for them. And then our violence prevention and intervention, that's where we're doing all of our violence prevention work. We're helping victims of violence to really regain their independence, and then also give them opportunities beyond whatever type of victim services that they may have needed. We serve approximately 6,000 clients now, and our target population are Black and Brown families that really are just in need of supported opportunities so they can become comfortable.
I love the idea of that, and it reminds me of something that Dr. Christopher said in the first hour of instead of letting people out, let them in, and it's very much that is instead of calling people out, rather to let them in. And it seems very much rather that that's what you are doing there. You are providing opportunity, you are providing support. What a wonderful blessing. Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges the clients you serve face and how Center for New Horizons supports individuals?
Absolutely. Our clients face so many challenges. I start off with community violence, housing and food instability, involvement in the criminal justice system, low literacy levels, the divide, which became glaring during this pandemic, poor health and lack of quality education. Just to name a few, if that's not enough. Our goal at centers is to really find resources and programming and create pathways for families to reduce or to remove those barriers that I mentioned that are preventing them from being self-sufficient. We either will develop and offer the programs at centers, or we'll partner with other organizations that can help them eliminate those barriers.
You mentioned the digital divide, and I'm wondering if we can jump into that for just a moment. Obviously, this isn't something that is new to our communities and our neighbors, but has been highlighted and pushed forward because of this remote work, this remote learning. What have you seen be the toughest challenges faced because of that digital divide?
When everything goes remote and you don't know how to use a computer, or you don't have access to the internet or technology at your home, you can't do anything, right? You have become isolated from the world at this point. So at centers, we worked with several of our funding partners to try to eliminate that divide as much as possible. So gracious funders provided us with the opportunity to be able to give out digital devices to many of our families. Also, our own employees, we weren't prepared to be a remote organization. We see almost 1,000 people in person every day. So we had to actually get those same digital devices to our employees and ensure that they had proper internet so they could continue to do their jobs. So the digital divide, although we've always known it was there, we have many computer labs throughout the city to support families, but that was no longer an option at that point. So we had to pivot very quickly and get the resources out into the hands of families as quickly as possible.
Absolutely. So United Way of Metro Chicago, along with the city and other foundations and partnerships, of course, have been working with Chicago Connected, and we're working with 100,000 families to get them signed up for free internet for 4 years. And so far we're at 36,000, and we have come to realize that about 20,000 don't even have email addresses. So I like to point that statistic out because people just assume that people are plugged in and have been for years, if not longer, decades. And it's just not necessarily the case. So we truly have to walk side by side and walk them through the process of getting an email address, let alone figuring out how to use the computer or the necessary tools to be able to be successful both in business and in school. So thank you for talking about that, because I think people understand that there's a digital divide, but they don't get the gravity of it and what it truly happened in 2020. I'd like to pivot for a moment and talk about the Center for New Horizons has been a United Way funded agency for many years. Can you tell us how you work with United Way and with our neighborhood networks?
Absolutely. So, as a funder, you all fund our workforce development programs. And what that means is we have about 6 funders for our workforce development program, but the United Way funding actually fills in the gaps for us. So many of our programs have a specific population that we need to work with, but our United Way funding, we use that kind of as an overlay to be able to serve anyone from any community that walks through our doors. Like I mentioned, we place almost 600 people through our transitional jobs and direct placement opportunities. So this is just a supplement to that work that we're doing. So it's always very, very beneficial to us as a nonprofit to have that type of private funding from a place like United Way to support our government funding. Secondly, our our volunteer opportunities. So you all have come many on different occasions and brought corporate volunteers to our organization to do different service projects. We have almost 300 employees at centers, but everybody's doing something, right? So there's so many needs that we don't get a chance to meet for our clients because everybody's focused on their job. So it's great when the volunteers come in and work on some of our service projects that we haven't had an opportunity to work on, or bring in things such as the kits that you're working on today to provide that additional resources for our families. And the third way that we partner, the Bronzeville Neighborhood Network, I think I'm most excited about. I've been a part of the network for several years now. So the Bronzeville Neighborhood Network is one of the networks sponsored by the United Way. And what it is a really community-led network of agencies and residents. We all created what's called a bold goal. So for the Bronzeville Network, it is to increase access to services and opportunities that reduce violence and increase healthy living for youth and adults in our community. Ours is quarterbacked by Bright Star Community Outreach, led by Pastor Chris Harris. And over the last year, I think we employed 300 residents in the Bronzeville community in employment despite COVID-19, which was amazing. And we used over 30 workforce partners to meet that goal. And then also what's really exciting, this last November, Bronzeville was named one of the 4 neighborhoods that are going to be a part of Mayor Lightfoot's second round of Invest Southwest initiative, which means that we'll have more access to resources for housing, retail, and other businesses that will create more economic development right in our community.
That sounds so terribly exciting. And I see the smile on your face as you talk about your work. And it truly brings me joy as well to just be partnered with you on this journey to give more opportunity and to give a little hope in some times of darkness. So thank you for that. Would you be able to tell us what many of our viewers are here today creating resource kits for our agency partners, just as I described and I showed the snack pack kit. Can you describe how your agency would use these kits, whether it's the hygiene or the baby or the snack or the warm clothes? How would you use these kits?
I think we may have requested some of all 4 of the kits, to be honest with you. So since March, I believe we started our shutdown March 23rd. We've been creating, I'm going to call them kits now. We've been creating these types of kits as well because our families need them. So I'll just give you one quick example. When our childcare closed down, I mentioned 400 children that we serve. They're usually with us between 8 to 11 hours per day. So think about for infants, how many diapers and formula and wipes that we typically supplied for those families. And now those families are at home and it's almost triple the amount that they normally have at home. And then these are families that were losing jobs, unable to go to work, did not have the benefit time that they needed to take care of their families. They're already, living on very minimum incomes. So we had to create these types of kits. And thank you to many of our generous funders that allowed us to do that. And we were giving out these very similar kits to families, and they were very appreciative of it because this, in the one day, everything changed for them. So they were, very, very useful. We've been doing that since March, and we continue to do that now, even though we have reopened our doors as safely as possible. Some of our families are still connecting with us remotely. So we're continuing to give out these kits. So we will be providing these kits from the United Way to those families. And then snacks. I don't know if anyone has children at home. I do. I can't keep enough snacks at home. So, knowing how much how the snacks will be very important to families when they're making really tough decisions what to do with their money. Now they don't have to decide they won't have to decide to buy these items, and they can take care of their, more critical necessities. So we're really excited about these donations, and can't wait to get them to the hands of our families.
Oh, I completely understand. I desperately miss the moments where we used to be able to come into our corporate partners or into our agencies with corporate partner volunteers and build these kits together in community and write these notes together. And we would do it, of course, by the droves of, 50 or 75 or 100 or 200 or 300, and be able to ship them off in boxes. And it was so exciting. Now that we're doing it from the comfort of our home, and of course, stay safe at home. But I saw someone ask in the chat, how many, of course, you can absolutely just drop by with one pack, but maybe it would be better to kind of go maybe even to a Costco or Jewel, if that's something that you're able to do, buy a few boxes and pack a certain amount of kits. Is there an ideal number of kits that would be able to be helpful on a certain day for one of the kits?
I would say about 100. 100 kits would be great. And I would say for centers, if you don't have time to pack the kits, we'll pack the kits for you. So if you just want to drop by the items, we'll pack them for you and put a note in that the donation is from the person or the organization. So I would say 100 would be a good number for us. As I mentioned, we have 400 kids in childcare. We have about 400 kids in our after school programs. So I would think 100 would be great.
Thank you. Okay, perfect. And something that you mentioned before, that some of these families prior to COVID were sort of hanging on. They were sort of okay, struggling, but and we call them our ALICE families, our asset limited, income constrained, employed families. And these are the families that were prior to COVID, they were employed, doing what they're supposed to do, hanging in there together. And then COVID hit and they were the first to be laid off, fewer hours, lesser pay. And have you seen an influx of these families in the past 10 months? And what has been the most helpful way for them to move forward and realize that we do have their backs? And we know that everyone is struggling right now, but this has particularly impacted them the most. Being able to have dinner on the table, pay rent, and go grocery shopping, and suddenly they are stuck choosing healthcare, rent, or food. How are we helping these families know that we have their backs and we're going to help them out of this hole?
Yeah, so for centers, we're there. So our doors never closed for our staff. So we continue to check in with at least 1,000 families per week since March 23rd, when the stay-at-home order was enforced at our agency. So we continue to call, we continue to email, and we continue to have events. So we're having virtual events. We're doing counseling virtually. We've opened our doors back up now so families can come in on a limited capacity, but we haven't stopped doing what we're doing, and many of our partners in the field have not stopped either. We're still connecting people with jobs. We're still hosting after school programs. And we'll continue to do that until it's safe to bring everybody back in. But I think that's all that, we're able to do, is just continue to be consistent as we've been for the last 49 years, and keeping our doors open for them.
Such a blessing to be able to keep those doors open. And I know that we're here to help you do that in whatever manner that we are able to. I do have one question from the chat, and they are wondering, is there for your organization in particular, is there a particular kit that is more necessary than others?
I would say the snack kits are pretty important for us. Between the snack kits and the baby kits, I think they would be equally as important for us. And I think the one in the chat, right, the seniors. And I would like to talk about seniors for a quick moment. We
Please.
work we work with lots of seniors, and because in our facility in Chatham, someone mentioned our Chatham location is on 83rd and Cottage Grove. So normally we had about 60 seniors that would come in every day. And this is how they avoid social isolation. They kept healthy and active, and we are no longer able to do that. We haven't done that since March. So we do things like give them activity books, music. We do check-in calls for them, giving them snacks as well because it's harder for them to go out to the stores in PPE. The amount of PPE everyone needs now is, overwhelming and very hard to keep up with for cost. So those would be great things for a senior kit if you're thinking about that. And I think that's one of those spaces that people sometimes forget about, how much a lot of seniors live alone. So it's been very, very difficult for them. And then also bringing up the digital divide really quickly. I know to get the COVID vaccine, you have to go online. So we're thinking about now, how are we going to prepare ourselves to be able to assist seniors who typically don't know how to use the internet or the computer to sign up for those vaccines.
It's so incredible to think about how every twist and turn of the current crises that we're in, so much is necessity to be able to be online, and so much help is needed to be able to access those resources, to even have a tablet or a phone or a laptop, and then to figure out, how do I get an email? How do I log on? How do I do this? I have tech savvy family members that still have trouble figuring it out. So I can only imagine those that are not quite as comfortable.
Yeah.
While we talk about these kits, tell me, where can we get that? How do we get them to you? How do we get them to your agency? Where do they get dropped off?
Okay. Our agency is closed today. We're giving our staff a day to complete community service. But 4301 South Cottage Grove in the chat, that's fine. That's our child care center. They're not open today, but they'll be open tomorrow from between 7 and 6 p.m. So absolutely, the address in the chat is fine, 4301 South Cottage Grove to drop off. If someone wants to drop off today, shoot me an email. I'll put my email in the chat, and I'm happy to arrange. If you need to drop it off today, I'm happy to go up to the site and open the door so we can receive it.
Wonderful. As we talk about kits, and we're also talking about seniors and the PPE, would you tell us exactly what PPE would be necessary to be in those kits that would be helpful? I'm thinking masks, hand sanitizer, maybe some wipes. Tell me more.
I think those three would be great.
Okay.
And if you just have two, then the mask and hand sanitizer are awesome.
Awesome. That's great. And overall, what do you think it does for your community members, for your neighbors, when they see that these packs are coming your way? And the moment that you hand these packs out, whether it's to a new mom who has not slept in weeks and just needs some formula, or a little kid who's running around and having fun in the snow and gets a snack, tell us, how does it impact your neighbors? How does it impact your community to have these kits made?
Oh, it's so impactful to them. Our families are so gracious to have these donations from all of us, and really to see a parent be relieved of the burden to think about how they're going to feed their baby or how they're going, keep their child warm is very fulfilling for us as centers. And then we want to continue to give them the space to focus on what they need to focus on, which is, making sure that they have a safe place to live or go to work safely and not have to worry about those things.
Wonderful. As we talk about those that need help in your area, I always like to mention in these conversations with corporate partners or agency partners that, of course, we know of many people that need help, but we're in an incredibly difficult position right now in history. And so some of us might even be on this call that need help, or might have family members or friends that might need help. How does one go about in your area getting help from Center of New Horizons? How does one show up and say, Krista, I need help?
You can go into any of our locations. So we actually have 13 locations now. But I think I'll put the number in the chat, 773-373-5700. And our switchboard will take the call and you tell them what type of help you need and we'll get you to the right place. And then our website, www.cnh.org, that can also direct you to how to be connected with our services.
So I'm going to make you light up again because I'm going to talk about Bronzeville, and I know how much you love talking about Bronzeville. Can you tell us, there's so much going on there, and there's so much that's unknown. Can you share with us maybe a couple of things that are up and coming or happening around? Also, what is it that you wish we knew about Bronzeville that we don't know?
Oh, that's a good question. So what are we doing? So we're working so closely together now in Bronzeville through our Bronzeville Neighborhood Network. I think we are, we're leading the way on employment opportunities. So we have a job fair coming up soon with one of our aldermen. So every year we do huge job fairs for our residents. And then thinking about, how we're going to 47th Street and 43rd Street, there's a lot of new developments coming. So we also want to make sure that we don't lose the history of Bronzeville. So many, as gentrification is happening, there's so many longtime residents of Bronzeville, and there's so much history in that community that there's several different organizations doing a lot to try to make sure that we maintain the history of Bronzeville and ensure that although we are developing and it's going to look different, the feel of the community won't be different. So we're doing a lot in that area of maintaining that history with a lot of our longtime residents.
Okay, wonderful. I'm kind of looking through the chat here just to make sure that we've answered all the questions that we possibly can. It is so apparent that when you speak of, again, the work in Bronzeville, that you absolutely light up, and we hear the passion in your voice. And quite frankly, it's these conversations that keep all of us at United Way Metro Chicago going as well. We miss being in person with you so much, but it's moments of being able to be together on these Zoom meetings or other platforms that really elevate the work and truly remind us that what we do every day can make a difference, and we can be a part of service safely from home, even if that's in our basement laundry room, as I currently am. But we're so thankful for your time and your passion. I'm just sort of checking the chat just for one more moment. Somebody had a question actually about the adult daycare center in Chatham. Would you be able to tell us the name of that center?
Yeah, it's in the Chatham Suites senior building on 83rd and Cottage Grove. So we operate the lower level, which is the day center.
Okay, wonderful. And to be clear, everyone needs to be, should be, and is masked, correct, in that center?
Absolutely, yes. And then, one of the other things, I see somebody mentioned the art in Bronzeville. Unfortunately, we have canceled our trolley tours. But when outside reopens, hopefully you all can jump on one of the trolley tours. We do an art tour throughout the community every summer. So we canceled them this past summer, of course. But that's a really great way to see the history of Bronzeville and all of the art and all of some of the amazing buildings.
Wonderful. I think we did a pretty good job of getting the questions, Krista. Good job. And thank you to my team who've been typing away from United Way about all of the lists, how to help, agencies that you can send these packs to, PDFs with ways to fill the packs that are best needed. And again, there's hygiene, there's the new mom's kits, there's the warm clothing, there's the snacks. And as Krista said, they're all powerful. Maybe the diapers and the snacks are more necessary necessary now, but we're also learning about how to help out our senior neighbors, get them PPE, get them notes, and help them through this isolating time that we're all having. Thank you again, Krista, for being part of our Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service event and for your commitment to Chicago. I am so lucky to now call you a friend, and I'm so happy to have been able to spend this time with you this morning on such an important day. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll put my information in the chat for anyone who wants to contact me directly about Kids Today or their absence. So, Lauren, thank you and United Way for the way that you have supported Center for New Horizons through the years.
Oh, absolutely. We're only just truly beginning. I want to thank everyone else who joined us today as well. Before we close, just a couple of housekeeping items. If you have any questions regarding your virtual kit project, please review the instruction guide that was linked in your confirmation email, and don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions along the way. That's dayofcaring@liveunitedchicago.org, and it's day, singular, dayofcaring@liveunitedchicago.org. And if you'd like to continue your journey of racial healing and growth, we invite each of you to sign up to participate in the United Way of Illinois Equity Challenge at unitedwayillinois.org/equity-challenge. Please don't feel overwhelmed that it's a 21-day challenge. Every Monday, you're going to see an email of events, and it's like 15 minutes per week. And I'm sure that we can all find that 15 minutes to figure out a way to push this equity challenge forward and just be better citizens of our community and of the world. And that wraps up our morning events. Thank you all again for making the time to be here, to share in the conversation, to grow, to give back. On behalf of United Way of Metro Chicago and all of our partners around the Chicago region, we are so appreciative of all of you. We all have a role to play in building a stronger and more equitable Chicago region, and we're so happy you're with us. I'd like to close this Martin Luther King Day of Service program with a quote from the man himself. In 1963, Dr. King was jailed, leading nonviolent marches and sit-ins in Birmingham, Alabama. During those 8 days, Dr. King wrote the letter from Birmingham jail in which he said, "We must use time creatively, in the knowledge that the time is always ripe to do right. Now is the time to make real the promise of democracy and transform our pending national elegy into a creative psalm of brotherhood. Now is the time to lift our national policy from the quicksand of racial injustice to the solid rock of human dignity." Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much. Be safe. Wear a mask. We love you.